Good day to everybody and welcome to a very simple and fast video explaining about the services of the operating system and how the operating system executes system calls in relation to the API or application program interface. So without further ado, let's get started. So this diagram right here shows what the user cannot see or the internal workings of the whole computer system. As you can see, the operating system, colored in blue here, which is the biggest part, is in between the user programs here and the hardware here. This says that the operating system is the one communicating with the hardware and even the software, much like the kernel, which mediates between software and hardware. So in the operating system, the system calls part here is in between the user interfaces here and the services. So the services, you can see all of the different services that the operating system has. Much like the operating system itself, the system calls communicates with the services, which then returns it to the user interface of whatever program needs that service. This is done through the system call interface. So, what is the system call interface? Now, the system call interface here assigns unique numbers to each and every one of the system call available in the operating system and is also the one to call that service. So, hence the name system call because it calls the service. So, the system call interface receives a request from a user application. Then it finds the call that that application needs and then returns it. It is much like a library, for example. You go to a library and you want book 12345, for example. So the librarian gets that book which corresponds to that number and finds it for you and then gives it to you. The librarian acts like the system call interface for much simpler explanations. Some example of system call service is this. So file management. A very simple act of creating or deleting a file has so much complexity in the inner workings of a computer system, as we have seen from the last slide. And then another one is, this is a system call sequence of copying a file to another destination. So you can see that it has so many things to do with just copying a file to another destination. But much simpler when we do it, just copy then paste. So that's about it. I didn't think I missed anything, so thank you for listening to my short explanations about services of the operating system and the system calls. Thank you.